Hello YouTube, Al here, and this is my last New Gear Day of 2020. Filmed a little bit after 2020 to be fair. I finally did it. I finally took the plunge and I bought a Fender. So, this is a 2010 Mexican standard Strat. All bone stock. Apart from the strings, which were really old when I got it, so I've put my gauge of strings on and a little bit of foam to stop the strings ringing out. Here it is. I do have the back plate. I just took it off because it's easy to restring it with the back plate off. Really, really nice. It's an older body, 3-tone sunburst. I wasn't really a big fan of the scratch plate when I first got it, but it's kind of growing on me now. The neck is quite a dark tint, which I quite like. It works rather nicely with the sunburst, I think. So yeah, it's a 2010 standard Mexican Strat. It even still had the plastic on it when I got it. I got this off a mate who had it and he just wasn't playing it, and he heard I was looking for one, so I gave it a try and I quite liked it. So this came with 10 to 46 strings on it, and it played really well, played really great, but they were so old I had to get the strings off and put my ones on. So these are 10 to 52s, which is why the action is a bit high. It really needs a setup still. You see the big block in the back, by the way, it's a zinc block, not a steel one. Everything's bone stock, so it's CTS pots. I'm guessing it'll be a ceramic capacitor. I haven't even taken the pick guard off, which is amazing for me. Switch feels positive, barely used. Yeah, the guy never really played it much, but it sounds really, really nice. It's quite a thin neck. Of the cheap Strats I've had, the maple neck ones have always tended to have massive U-boat necks and they've been horrible. This one is quite a slim neck and it is really quite comfortable. Really quite comfortable. This came with a gig bag, which isn't the best in the world, but I've got a nicer gig bag and it's living in there. So let me show you how this thing sounds. Here we are, going into my little Marshall practice amp. It's the Park by Marshall practice amp, the one I got from a charity shop not too long ago. So bear in mind, because I put 10 to 52s on, they're slightly thicker strings from the stock ones, so I've slightly widened the nut slots to accommodate these strings, and I haven't been able to do it quite wide enough. I haven't got proper files for the job. I'm using jeweler's files, so I don't want to overcut the nut. So if there's any tuning weirdnesses, it's because the string's getting stuck in the nut, and that's why I still need to give that some attention. But here's how it sounds anyway. I'll start at the bridge pickup and then we'll work our way to the back. Let's go to position 2. Ooh. There you go. A, not D. It's the middle pickup on its own. position 4, it's the neck in the middle. And the neck pickup. Let's turn the gain up a bit. Can't get me if I play the rhythm wrong. Copyright wise, I'm fine. All that stuff. So, middle and neck. Middle on its own. Middle and bridge. And back to bridge. So there you go. I mean, it still needs to set up. It's still a bit of a bugger to play. I believe the strings might be a bit high in the nut slots, because when you think about it, strings round, so the nut slot has to be cut to a certain depth, not just width. I feel like maybe we've got to lower the nut slots a little bit more, but I don't really want to rush into doing that. I'd rather just take it to a guy, because I think it's got a couple of high spots up here, definitely at the dusty end on the high E, which is why I've got to have this high E so high off the fretboard. So if we can get that little bit of high fret somewhere around the 50, regular area, sort of 15th fret sort of area. If I can get that polished out, then I should be able to lower the action. But hey, apart from the tuning weirdnesses, it does sound really nice, and it's so light. It's a really light guitar, which surprises me. I think this is a two-piece body. You can see a seam there, but I don't see any other seams. And they try to keep... Apparently Fender, when they have sunburst bodies, they try and keep it two-piece as opposed to three-piece, which they're more inclined to do on solid finished guitars. But it's a very, very nice looking guitar. I really don't have much more to say about it. It's bone stock. Yeah, tuners are the standard Fender tuners. I have no problem with these. They work fine. They work fine. Haven't got a problem with them. The string tree, I don't know. There's no spacer, so it's quite low down. I'm wondering if that might have something to do with tuning weirdnesses, because it's a gull wing type and it keeps the string in the slot, so maybe it's snagging somewhere. But either way, the nut needs a bit of attention, and then it's going to be an absolutely fantastic guitar. I do have the trem arm for it. It's in the case. I haven't set it up to use the trem because when I put these strings on, the whole guitar sort of went ah, because it's totally different tension from what it had before. So it's taken a while to settle down. I probably will be using the trem, but again, once I get the nut sorted out so that it stays in tune. But why did I buy a Fender? Well, I think partly it's peace of mind in that I will never have to touch these electronics. They're the big boy pots. They're not going to wear out anytime soon. The tolerance on the pots is going to be good. If it says 500k or 250, it should be pretty much in that ballpark. It should be pretty damn close. The switch, again, I'm not going to have a problem with that. The jack, again, it's a Switchcraft one. I'm not going to have a problem with that. The bridge, I don't have a problem with this. It works really quite well. When I got it, I'm guessing it hadn't been set up in about 10 years. The trem worked absolutely beautifully. It returned to pitch perfectly fine. It was a dream, an absolute dream. So yeah, again, all that has to be changed because I put my bloody strings on it. The neck is a nice profile. Is it that much nicer from the import Strats I've had? I'd say I think I do prefer it to most of the import Strats I've had. I'm talking about the rosewood ones. I'll ignore the maple board ones because they've all had big chunky necks and I've not liked them. But this is sort of a C shape rather than a D shape. It's less pronounced, kind of in the middle. It's less sort of that shape. It's more sort of a that sort of shape rather than a that sort of shape. So I'm really happy with it. So, hopefully, that should sort it out. Yeah, there you go. I will be confident gigging this guitar. I will be confident taking the guitar like this on tour. It does have a feeling of reliability about it, which is a bit of a tough one to put my finger on. What about it feels solid? But I've not played too many Fenders. I think I played hardly any Fenders, but there was a feeling of quality when I picked up this guitar. I do think it's put together well. The neck socket, neck joint is very tight. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The neck angle is great. It feels rigid. There's a sturdiness about it. There's a reliability about it. It might just be the profile of the neck that's making me feel like that. It feels very easy. I feel like I can grab it, I can hang on for dear life, and it's not going to move, not going to go anywhere. So why did I buy a Fender? I don't really quite know. But I like this one, and it was definitely worth the money I paid for it, which was a fair rate for a Mexican Fender standard Strat, by the way. I'm not going to tell you what the price is because there's no point, because these things kind of jump around, but they've not really moved much in the ballpark they're in. So I'm happy with the price that I paid. I'm happy with the guitar that I got. Apart from one ding, there, it's pretty much mint, pretty damn good condition. There you have it. Let me know what you think. I think I would much rather buy one of these than finish up the projects that I've been planning on working on, the bodies and necks that I've won off eBay or whatever and was going to have stuck together, because end of the day it's such a ball ache to try and get the neck and body to fit together, and if it's not done right it's just going to cause you more and more problems down the line. The Ratocaster still does not play right because it's a Squire neck fitted to a no-name body, and the angle isn't right on it, or the frets aren't right, or something about it. It's never played right. Sounds good when it's plugged in, but it plays like absolute poo. So I would say that's why I'm not going to continue with the project of buying parts to put together into a guitar, because you've no idea what you're going to end up with. With this, I can see the neck and body want to fit together. I can see how they fit together, and I can see how it works, see how it plays, see what the angle's like. So, you know, see if it even resonates, because some guitars are just very, very dull, and I don't know if there's any particular reason for that. I think it's just the neck and body want to work together, or they don't, and some of the time they don't. And imagine spending a lot of money getting someone to fit a neck to a body and then it doesn't ring. It's a crap dog. It's just a dog. So I'd rather just have this and then I can see what it's like in my hands. The same with any cheap guitar. Not that this is, I suppose, by the measure of guitars, expensive. With it being a guitar, the benefit is you can have it in your hands and you can see how it feels, you can see how it sounds, and you can go from there. So I think it's not really worth doing parts casters, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think it's just, you don't know what you're going to end up with, so it's really not worth it. If you've got a guitar that's got a broken neck, or you've got a broken body and you want to put something new on it, then I get that. That kind of makes sense to me. But to buy the parts from different places, especially unbranded stuff where nothing's ever the same. It's not like Fender Spec Warmoth or Fender Spec All Parts where it's Fender Spec. With imports, there's always a bit of a give and take as to the measurements, and it's not worth it. Honestly, it's not worth it. So I think really that's why I bought a Fender, to put all that to bed. The pickups sound great. I'm really happy with the pickups in this. I do have the Fat 50s that I did have in the Ash Body Strat that I'm no longer going to continue that project. I've sold the Warmoth neck. I'm selling the Warman body. I could put the Fat 50s in this, but I like these pickups and I really don't want to dick about with this guitar just for the sake of it. And I know that if I mucked about with it, it would be for the sake of it. So I'm breaking the habit. I am breaking the habit. Consider the habit broken. I have not modded this, and I have no absolute rush to whatsoever. So I think it is definitely worth buying a Fender rather than trying to put a parts caster together. I couldn't tell you about Fender versus Squire because I've only owned one Squire Strat, and that was very briefly, unless you count the husk, the body and neck that for some reason I didn't think fit together, but they do fit together. I wouldn't call that a Squire guitar because it's effectively in bits. So I can't really say Squire versus Fender, but Squire necks I found are a lot nicer than regular import off-brand Strat necks, and I'd say this is a nicer, more comfortable neck for me than the Squire necks I've had. Not that there's anything wrong with the Squire necks either. It really is a preference thing. I swear I think some things we put down to quality are just preference, like the neck shape. I tried a Chapman Rabea model, not an inexpensive guitar, couldn't get on with the neck shape, only tried it briefly, but bloody hell, it was a massive neck. So I'm not ragging on the guitar, but I couldn't get on with the neck at all. This neck I find really comfortable. So there you have it. That's my opinion for what it's worth. I can't really pin down why specifically I'd want to buy a Fender over something else. Was I blinded by the branding? I don't know. I don't think I was. I think I can tell the quality in this guitar. Could I tell this quality versus a Fender, a Squire, if I'm blindfolded? I haven't got a clue. Haven't got a clue. But it doesn't matter. Each guitar is a guitar. And I like this one. That's all that really matters, I suppose, isn't it? So, thanks for watching. My name's Al. Like, subscribe, all that nonsense. leave any questions down in the comments and I'll try to get to them. I have had a couple of weeks off making videos, but we're living in a weird time. We had Christmas and New Year and all that as well. I've got irons in the fire. I'm very much trying to push as much as one humanly can, especially in these weird times in which we live. So, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that nonsense. Here's a lovely shot of my guitar that I can use for a thumbnail. And I'll see you next week. So until then, bye-bye.
Bye!